Thank you for the feedback on that. I had two devices on, one for sound, one for picture. Amazing, eh? We are all welcome today this evening, even as we continue on what we started with on Sunday. And my prayer is that today that God will visit us in a very special way, and God will begin to use this class to meet our needs in a very, very special way. Let me just see a show of hands. If you have questions that you would like to ask, put up your hand. Now, I'm not going to make you ask those questions here and now, but I'm just trying to have a show of hand. Did that message on Sunday, did it evoke any questions in you or something that you'd like to know more? I just want to start from that. Let's see a show of hands. All right. Okay, we already have one hand up. Okay. All right. So at this point.
Sorry, Emmanuel, can I say something, please? Sorry for intrusion. I'm so sorry. I think some people are still expecting we are going to have breakout rooms. Sorry, we told the disciples in Ojodu Mowe that some people actually, or some sisters actually requested that they would love to be part of the general class. Sorry, we didn't communicate that to everybody on this call tonight, but there was a demand that came in, that some sisters said they would like to also listen to the concluding part of this sermon. That's why we have decided to stay together tonight. So there won't be any breakout room again. We are all going to be together and enjoy the class. Thank you. Sorry for that intrusion.
All right. Thank you. We all actually announced that earlier on that there won't be any breakout class. Now, if you are struggling to unmute, we have disabled the unmute. I know, Mr. Bode, I just saw if we are because of the interruptions or that might come in, but we are going to allow the people to speak. So if you want to speak, you put up your hand. They will allow you so that we minimize the disruption that we usually have when we have very exciting meetings like this. Now on Sunday, we met together and we began to study what I would call the honest nest. Okay, we began to talk about it. We looked at Elijah as a case study of this thing that we talk about it, but sometimes we don't realize it. And the theme was when strong men, and I would like to add women, when they grow weary. When strong men and women grow weary. And the whole idea is to look at God's answer to burnout, mental exhaustion, and the silent battles that goes through our mind. That is what, and of course, our case study was the prophet Elijah, which arguably is a fiery prophet in the Bible. I'm just going to go quickly to just look at some of the points that we made on Sunday. I know some people have asked me, oh, you spoke only about men. What about the women? Yeah. Well, it was Men's Day, okay? It was Men's Day. It's not a competition. It's Men's Day, but you can learn a lot from the things that has to do with men. But today, but I had to show someone my sermon notes. I say, hey, there's actually a point where we're going to bring the women in. So there are some things that we've been told in our society, even our children. I recall when many years ago when our son was just in secondary school and he was in ISL. And on Fridays, we all used to meet at University of Lagos to have what we call the sport devo. I remember because he was tall, so you mistake him for somebody of the age of the campus student. So they were playing soccer and he was tackled and he fell, bruised himself, and he was bleeding. Then the brothers, the camp ran and was, Henry, don't cry. Boys don't cry, men don't cry. And I quickly and immediately stopped there and said, guys, stop. Men cry, boys cry. And again, it is our society. It's not that they mean, bad, but that is what we grew up hearing. Men don't cry. Men are not supposed to show any sign of emotion. Emotion is seen as weakness. All right. They'll say, oh, you are doing jolo jolo. Your emotion is like weakness. You're not a real man. Real men are supposed to take the pain. In fact, we have a tribe, I think it's a Fulani tribe in the north, if I'm not mistaken, where part of the ritual to get married is that the groom will receive some serious stroke of not just cane, like stick on his back, and he must not flinch. He must not show. So, but today, many people are exhausted today. We're exhausted. Many men are discouraged. Now, if you are young and you're a teenager, you might not, again, understand. These are men and women who have been running this race for a long time. So it's not just one thing that makes you exhausted, but it is carrying a heavy load for a prolonged period of time. Many today are lonely, many are depressed, and many are battling addiction. Yeah. When we talk about addiction, don't just think about drug addiction. Okay, it could be habits, other habits. It could be overeating. It could be drunkenness. It could be screen time. It could be pornography. It could be anything. So a lot of people, that becomes an escape route for many people. So some today are beginning to wonder whether people are even noticing them. Like, if I even die today, nobody will notice me. So we talked about men not crying, which is a lie. The society tells us men don't cry, men don't complain, men should not show weakness. Men, when you have, we need to figure yourself out. Whenever you're stuck, figure it out. Be strong. So people begin to suffer silently. And many of us here, in the past, since Sunday, I've gotten numerous phone calls, SMSs, people that I want to talk. And I wish I'm able to respond to everyone. Because again, if I do, I'll be preaching, I will not be practicing what I preach. I'm going to also be burnt out. So we are looking at these things. So because Satan has given us that lie, and his strategy is to steal, to kill, and to destroy. So he wants to destroy. We began looking at several examples of the burdens that men carry right from creation. God made man and he gave him responsibility. So men have been carrying responsibility. They have to show that they are responsible. Even before the woman came, men have been carrying responsibility. So we have to work hard. We have to, be financially strong. There is financial pressure. People think about, how can I provide? There is marital pressure. How do I lead my family? There's parental pressure. There's spiritual pressure. There's career pressure. There's emotional pressure. And here in Nigeria, we put everything. Men are basically valued primarily for what they provide. We are providers. Okay, men are constantly seen as providers in our day. And women are valued for who they are. Be the woman, but for a man, he say, what are you bringing to the table? Unfortunately, right now, for some men, there is no even table at all. So we looked at this thing about godly men are becoming broken. People think spirituality is a guarantee that you're not going to be broken. It's not true. We looked at the life of Moses. Now, if for any reason you didn't listen to that class is online, either on my YouTube channel or the Ikeja YouTube channel. We look at the life of Moses, who cried out that he cannot carry these people anymore. Moses was exhausted. We look at the life of David. He said, his soul is downcast. We look at the life of Job. And Job, he said, why did I perish at birth? Job was wishing that he was born a stillbirth. We look at Jeremiah. Jeremiah cursed the day that he was born. And of course, we looked at the life of Jesus, who cried out that his soul was overwhelmed to the point of death. Now we began to look at the life of Elijah. After all those miracles that he performed, calling fire down from heaven, making sure that the prophets of Baal were all slaughtered and everything, but this guy became afraid and ran away. He won great victory in his life. He defeated people who were false prophets. He called down fire. Then when threats comes, you see that same person break it down. For some of us, that threat might come from your health. Sometimes it might come from your career. It might come from your social status. It might come from your finances. It might come from your parenting. It might come from your marriage. That thing that hits you is as if everything you've ever built has disappeared. It is also real. Now, remember, this man we talked about is not a weak man. He was one of the strongest men in the Bible. So we looked at the signs of burnout. Okay, burnout happen when strong people, not weak people, when strong people begin to have carried too much for too long. And I share about my life. I have carried too much for too long. I carried too much for too long, where I was not taught to say no, where saying no is not an option, where you just have to keep doing it. People ask and you give. So here are the, and you might want to write it down. Of course, this thing is being recorded. You're going to have it. There are 5 signs, just looking at the life of Elijah that we found. 5 signs that Elijah was burned out. Number 1, emotional exhaustion. And I'm going to go ahead and explain that afterwards. It's not just like, okay, one day you are tired. No. He said, I have had enough. Number 2, isolation. He left everyone behind. People begin to withdraw. You see them, they will sit alone. Everything is not happening in their head. Number 3 is that hopelessness. He said, God, take my life. Number 4 is this distorted thinking. You are just thinking, I'm alone. Nobody is going through what I'm going through. I'm the only person going through this. You are not seeing anything. You only see yourself. And there's of course there's physical, depletion. He was exhausted. He was hungry. He was tired. So many men, today 5 similar signs. There were 9 signs that I shared on Sunday. And the 9 sign that you become irritability. Everything gets to you. Any small thing gets to you. Number 2 is anger, uncontrolled anger. Number 3 is withdrawal. Number 4 is emotional numbness. Whatever happens, you're just there. Something happens, you cannot even express how you feel. You're emotionally numb. Then you may have sleeping problems. I'm going to talk about that also. Sleeping problem. Then you might have constant fatigue. I say everything just tire me. You'll be saying it. We know without knowing. It's like there's no strength. Even when you sleep and wake up, you still feel very, very tired. So there's that constant fatigue. There is loss of motivation. The things that you used to do, that used to bring you joy, all of a sudden stop giving you joy. You don't want to do it again. You don't want to go to work. You don't want to see anybody. You don't want to hang out, nothing again. So there's loss of motivation, and then that person might go into addiction. When you run away from one thing, you might going to run away to another thing. There's something we say, we reject by accepting. We accept by rejecting. So you cannot reject and stay alone. When you reject, you embrace something else. So sometimes it now become addiction. You might just be watching, screen time uncontrollably. You're always on your phone 24/7, even at work. You just, what are you doing? You are just YouTuber. You cannot communicate with the world anymore. Or you're watching movies, or you're always going to go and hang out where they're playing soccer, or you get into some drinking habit, all kinds of pornography, all sorts. Then you have suicidal thoughts. People can have suicidal thoughts. I'm going to be addressing that also. Remember the 10 questions that I said we're going to be addressing? I'm going to be talking about today. So the church must stop pretending, all of us. We must stop pretending that these things don't happen to us. We must stop pretending that it is not our portion, because we live in the real world. So what is God's response to broken men and women? I'd like to add. And that is where I want us to think about right now. You see, mental health is a sickness. It's not like whatever. It's as serious as somebody coughing. It's as somebody bleeding from the nose. That's how we see it. So what does God do first? And we asked that question on Sunday. Did God rebuke Elijah? The answer is no. Sometimes some of us have got to rebuke people who are trying to explain things that we cannot comprehend. We say, come on, sister, come on, brother, come on, man, you need to man up, bro. The Lord is your strength, whatever. I have done it, and people have done it to me also. It is a culture, and this culture, we have to change that culture. Okay? When we don't even allow people to grieve. So does God rebuke Elijah? The answer is no. Did God lecture Elijah? The answer is no. Did God accuse Elijah of being weak, dropping the ball, losing the? God did not do that. And by the way, let me tell us, one of the wrongest things you can tell somebody who is undergoing traumatic situation is to tell them that, oh, I understand how you are feeling. Brother, sister, no, you don't understand. Nobody understands. Even if you have gone through similar thing, you do not understand. Number 2, it is not a time for you to start telling your own story. a lot of people, even when they venture to just open up, they say, oh, let me tell you my own too. When you say that, what you are saying is that what they are going through is not important. Yours is more important, and you suppress them. So please, we need to learn to listen actively. It's an art. You have to learn to listen. Listen with your eyes. Because we know that over 70% of what people communicate, it is not from words. Only maybe about 5% is from what they say. Watch their eyes. Watch everything. What did God do? God gave this man rest. God said, it is time to rest. God says, sleep. God said, have you eaten? You need food. God fed him again and again. God gave him water. God gave him time. You see, in our society, because we care so much, we are quick to rush to fix things. Those were the mistakes that Job's friends did. When this calamity happened to Job, they came. For the first few days that they came, that was the best time. They did not say, they were just looking at Job. Sometimes that is the best thing to do when people are going through traumatic. So don't try to explain to them why they are going through what they're going through. It was when Job's friend now began to try to figure out, oh, maybe you didn't pay your tithes. Or maybe Job now became angry, like, come on, man, you guys know me. People eat in my house, people, whatever there. Of course, Job's self-righteousness was coming out. People like, in the meantime, don't try to figure out people. Just understand them first. Ask questions. So the first treatment that God gave him was not a sermon. What God gave him is recovery. And this is very profound. God gave him recovery. Sometimes most of the spiritual, things that men can do, the most spiritual thing that you can do is to go and sleep. Just to give you a place to sleep. Sometimes is come over and rest. If where you are is to whatever there, come to my place and just lie down and rest. I've done that many people before. There was a time a brother came for the assembly time. This has happened many times. And he came obviously from work or from school, and they are there. Within minutes, they just fall asleep. One brother came to my house and he fell asleep. He came, I remember, around 6. And when he dozed off, I left him. The guy woke up past 10. I was going to say, bro, why did you wake me up? I said, because you were tired. It's not a time for you to start rebuking. Bro, you came to whatever, and you are saying, people are tired. Sometimes maybe that's what they need. That is the best help that you can do sometimes. Rest. Like I said, bro, take a break. Eat properly. Seek help. People also invited us to their home before. Just to come and sleep. To come and rest. So some men today are trying to pray away exhaustion. You don't pray away exhaustion. God may be telling you, go and sleep. There was a time, I won't mention the region. I went to go and preach in a region on Sunday. And the brother that I've known since we're all young disciples, single for like ever, So after service, we were fellowship. We've not seen each other for a long time. And the guy was telling me, I said, oh, bro, he went to work. He drove all night. He just arrived the house around maybe 6 o'clock. In fact, he just came to church. I looked at him and said, bro, why did you come to church? You could have joined online. And he looked at me like an evangelist telling me this. I said, bro, you could have just joined online. You see, a lot of times we think it is by our work. Now, again, some of you might think, oh, why are you telling us this? Why are you giving us freedom? Listen, you think it is by putting those laws that people are going to make it to heaven. So what happened? So we begin to share things like, I've had people share things like, wow, I was sick. Somebody was sick and he brought the and I'm not kidding you guys, man, this many years ago. And he brought drip. Say, I will come to church even with drip. And we help people like that. I remember, as a young disciple, I had typhoid. Serious. I was hallucinating. It was that bad. I was saying things. Then I started getting, no treatment. The last hospital I went was Dr. Francis Hospital when it was in Ijesha, what they call it, in Lawansin, King's Hospital. Some of you know. I drove myself, sick person, all the way from Egbeda, Shasha. On Sunday morning, I drove myself very early in the morning to King's Hospital to go and take chlorophenical injection. All those, whatever. Then I told Dr. Francis, I went there very early before maybe I left around 6 o'clock, and I told him that I was going to drive home, get ready, listen to me, get ready, and now go to church. And he told me, Emmanuel, if you do this, you will die. Because in my mind, and I can't imagine missing church. It's like a missing church. That is what I would call, faith or zeal without knowledge. That was the first time I missed church as a disciple. The very first time. Dr. Francis told me that, Emmanuel, if you do this, you will die. You need to go and rest. I listened to him, one, because he was a disciple, number two, because he was a doctor, more because he was a disciple. So what do you do when things that happen? I remember sharing about a brother. He's an elder now. Father, I hung out with him when I was in US 2 months ago, and he came to look at our work in Nigeria, our ministry and everything, because they were funding us at that time, the campus ministry. And he went back, and by the time I went to visit him back, by day one in his house, by his dining, he began to share with me his impression about Nigeria. This guy is in Nigeria, it's an American. He began to share with me his impression about our country. Listen to what he said. I felt so ashamed. He said, number one, Emmanuel, you guys don't put value to life. I said, what do you mean? And he shared 2 examples with me. Number one, he said, your wife had malaria and you allowed her to come to campus devotional. I'm stunned. See, how can you do that? In my mind, I'm thinking, this guy doesn't know whether half of us get malaria there. See, your wife has was sick. We see it as a sign of, I'm strong. Then number 2, he said, when I came to Nigeria, we took him from hotel where we were staying, this many years ago, to come and preach in Ikeja. And so his sermon came before the communion. So he preached, somebody drove him all the way to the islands to go and preach a sermon at the service. Then they drove him all the way to Surulere, where we had a meeting. We had a meeting with the staff. Then we now had another meeting again at Allen Avenue. Before, when I was driving home, he was sleeping. And he told Emmanuel, in all this thing, nobody asked me if I wanted to do it. We just assume that when you are here, we're going. And he said we use the word, man, bro, we'll drain your blood. Things that we say jokingly. And he said, you guys don't put value to life. You see, there are challenging, dangerous social norms that we must all be able to counter today. We'll talk about that. Men don't cry. If men don't cry, well, Jesus wept. David wept. Peter wept. Paul, Paul wept. Number 2 is that real men don't need help. Moses needed Aaron. David needed Jonathan. Paul needed Barnabas. Jesus needed, the 3 guys at the Garden of Gethsemane. He said, come and pray with me. Real men need help. Number 3 is that real men solve all their problems alone. God says never. God himself said, it is not good for man to be alone. We can't be in isolation. Number 4, we have taught ourselves that seeking counseling means that you have a weak faith. Oh, why are you seeking counseling? Go and pray, pray about it. Listen, it is not everything that you need to pray about. Even after praying, you need to go and see. The Bible said that the sick person needs a physician. So seeking help demonstrates wisdom. Proverbs, the book of Proverbs repeatedly praises people who seek counsel. So let's talk about our sisters, today. See, this message is not about making excuses for men. It's not about making excuses for men. It's about understanding what people go through, what men especially are going through. Now, I'm not making excuses for men that are lazy or men that, no, we're talking about this a general thing. Many men today are carrying burden that they never discussed. Many are taught from childhood, you cannot cry, so that has been their mind. You cannot complain, so that's their mind. Don't show any weakness, that's their mind. Some husbands today are not, quote, cold. Oh, my husband doesn't talk, he's very cold. He might just be exhausted. And let me encourage us, women. You see, I don't think I've met any man who brags that he knows everything about a woman. Men don't know anything about women. And I think no man will be the first to tell you we don't know anything about women. But many times, we've seen women who think that they know everything about men. We live in a country where a woman has a child and he begins to call his son, the child, daddy, and call the husband, baby, they never expect the men to grow up. Where it's like it's as if men must take permission for everything that that they do. Now, naturally, women are nurturing, women are caring, but sometimes women, you might not know. You might be micromanaging your husbands. And if there's any men that feel that way, type in an amen in the chat. Type in an amen. Sometimes some men have come and said they feel micromanaged. He said, can't we make a decision? Women make decisions, but sometimes women need to also allow men to make mistakes, to make decisions, and just look away. They are not perfect. They don't have to be perfect. And I think men are discussing this. My prayer is that after we finish this series, this we're doing, we're going to set out time. We're going to have group discussion for men. We have to, just like the women too, want to have their own. It's easier for women to say, oh, let's go and have our own. But men, we have to invite them. It is not easy for a man because of the way men are wired. So you need to know that the first thing about knowing who a man is that you don't know what men are. Some fathers are not uncaring. Oh, you're not caring. They might just be overwhelmed because they are bottling all these things. I don't tell them, I say, you're not talking. I'm going to share with you how men will want to be treated. Some brothers are not distant. They might be hurting. Many men today, they need appreciation more than criticism. You see, when you tell a man they are doing well, it boosts his ego. That's men like things like that. Tell them what, because they're always doing things. When you tell a man you are doing well, when you encourage a man, men like words of affirmation, no criticism. Now there's a need for encouragement more than comparison. I mean, is it not easy? We know we can have many sermons for men. I mean, for women, Women's Day, Women's Day. Men will not come and say, let's do our own. No. But immediately something is done for men, women will come and say, what about us? You see, even in our church. Now, you're not doing it because you whatever. That is how you are. So self-awareness is very, very important. It's as if we are competing. Sometimes some men don't want to go to some parties. Some men, you see that it's as if they are dragged to those parties. Women will wear their gele, whatever. Look at what men will just go and stay one corner, one part. Why are you here? It is my wife. Ask men, what do they want to do? Not as that what you want to do is what they want to do. We need partnership more than pressure. Women are not inferior. What women are assistants. Women are divine partners. God designed man and woman to complement one another. The family works best when both support one another. You see, there are biblical remedies for stress and burnout. Stress, burnout, and depression. Now, the Bible says in the book of Psalm 62, verse 8, it talked about pouring out your heart to God, for it's your refuge. Number one thing is that you can pray. Don't pray internally, pray out. Okay? It has its own healing factor. Don't just pray in the spirit. Don't pray internally. Pray out. Go to a place that is quiet, whatever there, and talk, speak out. It can help you. God can handle your honesty. There's nothing you can say that God will say, yeah, but God can handle your honesty. Number two, you need to build godly friendships. Every man needs three things: God, family, and brothers. A band of brothers. You need God in your family. Go to isolation. What it does is that isolation magnifies suffering. The more you isolate yourself, the more you suffer. Listen, I have people that I run to every time. I have a band of brothers at the different places. Even this week, I'll have phone calls. Even today, I've made phone calls, whatever. There are people that I talk to, and my wife knows. Whenever, my wife says, okay, I'll go and see your friend, or yeah, go and talk. My wife knows that there's some things she will not be able to help me with. But she knows that I have people that I can go to. Last week, Friday, I drove all the way to go and meet another friend to just offload all of this thing. Then we have, number three, we have to rest intentionally. On Monday, a lot of people wanted to reach me on Monday. I couldn't be reached. I didn't want to be reached. I was not picking calls or whatever and every single thing, because I've had, since I came back from my trip, I've not rested. So Monday was my Sabbath. In fact, I did not do as much as step out from my house. I didn't even go to the balcony. I'm not sure I even went to this living room. It was just my room. I was there. And that was when, after the devotional, I slept and slept. Now you might say, okay, well, you are working for yourself, so it's easier for you to do. Yes. So, but you too have to find what works for you. In the book of Exodus chapter 20, Bible says, remember the Sabbath, 6 days. Then God said, on the 7th day, God ceased from his work. Not that God stopped working whatever day, but it was like ceasing. And so there's a time. Abraham was, I think it was Roman, what we were sharing on Sunday. And he mentioned something that is very profound, which I also know. There's a need. You see, when you sleep, that is when your body rejuvenates. That's when your cells multiply. The more you don't sleep, and what about sleep is that you can never catch up on sleep. You know how you say, okay, well, oh, I didn't sleep, let me go and sleep some more. You can, anytime you lose sleep, that time has gone. You don't recover it anymore. And you reduce your lifespan. If there's someone who has not just inspired me, but also challenged me in the habit of sleeping, it's our brother, Mr. Wamai again. In fact, I said I was going to put him on the spot. So, Mr. Wamai, if you are there towards the end of this, I'm going to ask you to come and talk about how you sleep. Okay, that's why he doesn't have gray hair, because his hair looks real nice. So you need to rest, and rest is not laziness. So because we grow up saying, you are sleeping, lazy boy, you are sleeping. We think, so whenever we rest, it's guilt. Even when you sleep, you are feeling guilty. Rest is not a laziness. Rest is actually obedience. You don't have to do something. Lock everything out, sleep. Then Romans chapter 12, verse 12 said, renew your mind. Transform yourself by renew your mind. Negative thoughts can become a spiritual stronghold. People that know me know my house know, but I don't watch anything gory. All these videos that people send or people being killed, whatever, I don't watch them because it's not good for me. I don't watch horror movies. It's not good for me. Not that I don't care about what happens in the world, but it is not good for my mental health. When you see it, you cannot unsee it. When you see it, you can't remove it from your mind again. And what you need to do is to replace lies with truth. Satan gives you lies, replace it with the truth. Then seek help early. If you have persistent depression, if you have anxiety, if you have suicidal thoughts, if you have trauma, if you have addiction, then you need to someone. Speak to a trusted friend. And listen, man, it is not a time to judge anyone. Nobody's going to be disfellowshipped. Nobody's going to whatever. No, that is not what we do. We are here to heal. Speak to a trusted friend. Speak to a mature Christian. Seek out a counselor. A qualified mental health professional can help you. You see, faith and professional health are not enemies. They can actually work together. They can work together. Then learn to share your body. Galatians chapter 6, verse 2. That will say, carry each other's burden. And in this way, you fulfill the law of Christ. I believe that the church should become a safe place for everyone. Not a place where people pretend. Not a place where men and women pretend. It should become a place where people are healed, men and women. I want to know that God is not finished with you. No matter where you are now, you are not alone. God has not finished with you. You will still have to do things that God wants you to do. Your failure is not final. Your exhaustion is not your identity. How are you feeling? I'm tired. How are you feeling? After a while, it now become your identity. That exhaustion is not your identity. Your depression is not your destiny. Your anxiety is not your future. Your burnout is not the end of your story. God sees you. God loves you. God still has purpose for you. And you have to tell yourself that. You have to begin to renew your mind. So today, brothers and sisters, are you tired? Do you feel that exhaustion? I didn't even know I was there. After a while, I didn't want to do anything again. Nothing interests me anymore. My mind was tired, but I didn't know I was undergoing trauma. Are you carrying burden alone? Are you carrying more than you can shoulder? Are you carrying? I tell you guys, man, there was a time, even as a married person, I will do ministry from Monday till Friday. Then on Saturday, maybe we'll go for a function with my wife and our son, very small. From that function, in the nights, I won't go home. I will go to Ujuelega. I'll go and take the last bus, night bus, that will take me out. In fact, one time I even stood. See, right? I'll go all the way to Onitsha, all night, all the way to Onitsha. I'll get to Onitsha on Sunday morning. Then I'll go to the house, freshen up, then go and preach. After preaching, then go and study Bible with people. Then disciple the whole brothers, the whole church, until later in the evening, I'll not go to Opiweka Road. I'll not take another night bus to come back to Lagos. And NEPA says, this is the time to strike. All right. Sorry about that. And I'll come all the way, night bus again, all the way to Lagos. Then I'll land 5 o'clock at Ojota. From Ojota, I'll find my way home. Then I'll go home, freshen up, and go to staff meeting. You see, how long can one person last if you do that? And you don't know that it begins to pile up. Yoruba will say, "Arano fabosi." All the stress. And please tell anyone who is struggling to join. I'm sure we are broadcasting this thing on YouTube, because we have hit our threshold. We are 100. So anybody that wants to join, maybe we are on YouTube. I'm not sure, but Mike will to answer that. But if not, this is recorded. We are going to get the record. So now, let's talk about those questions that I raised up on Sunday. On Sunday, I asked us that we should go and think about several questions. But before I go into those questions, I would like to ask, does anybody have a question right here? Does anyone, if you have a question, put up your hand. Put up your hand if you have a question. Then we'll be able to unmute you. Then you'll be able to speak. If you're in a place where you cannot speak, you can type in whatever question that you have. Are there questions? Put up your hand so that we'll know if you have any questions. Put up your hand if there are questions. All right. Now, let me get a feedback. Can anybody hear me? Mr. Adesoya, can you hear me?
Yes,
all right. Okay, can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. Many of you, thank you very much for the feedback. Many of you probably want to keep your question to the last. It's okay. All good. All good. You see, we live in a world that it is easier to get stressed. I mean, look at me right now. I'm doing this, and NEPA will just strike. Do you know what that can do in your mind? Many of us, you are coming back home. Like I was telling some of our Yubo friend that I met in Turkey. I said, you know why we are so religious? We're very religious in Africa because the things that we pray for are the things that you guys take for granted. Somebody is coming back home. We don't know his prayer and say, God, please, so make them not take light or whatever. You're already perspiring, you're already sweating. Even though you pay for the light, it's prepaid. You pay for the light. Or you're saying, hey, God, make a strike or whatever. You are praying for. So the thing is that those things alone can put stress on you. The cost of petrol. You can remember just 2 years ago, a few years ago, you can buy those yellow 25 liter, 30 liter. It was less than 3,000 naira. Less than 3,000 naira. Right now, 5,000 naira cannot fill up a 4 liter can. If you want to know how bad inflation is in Nigeria, the cost of petrol, will give you that. So let us quickly go to question number 1. Question number 1. Again, like I said, this class is not for men, just for men. This class is for wives, for parents, for young adults, for church leaders. It is for anyone who wants to understand how God helps people to navigate this emotional, suffering that we're talking about. One of the greatest mistakes that Christians make is a lot of time we assume that spiritual maturity makes us immune. It will never happen to us because you're a Christian. It makes us immune from emotional struggle. And that's why when Christians begin to struggle emotionally, they can't talk because they already told people that I can never struggle. But the Bible teaches us the opposite. Godly people can struggle. Faithful people can become discouraged. Strong disciples can become exhausted. The question is not whether the struggle will come. The real question is how are we going to respond when the question comes. So I want you to type in the chat box right now. Question number 1: is depression a sin? Is depression a sin? I'm going to have one eye on that. Is depression a sin? Okay. No. Everybody's saying no. Okay. I want all of us to believe it, that depression is not a sin. So when somebody is depressed, they have not sinned. Don't treat them as sinners. All right? Good. Depression itself is not a sin. However, how we respond, remember you can react or respond. How you respond to depression may involve sinful or wise choices. How you respond. But the condition itself is not sin. Depression itself is not sin. And I'm going to define what depression is, very soon. But how you respond to depression, it may involve sinful choices. For example, people are depressed, they go and start smoking. People are depressed, they go and start committing immorality. People are depressed, they go and start drinking and getting drunk. So how you respond to them? But the condition itself is not a sin. So the biblical example that we looked at on Sunday is very clear. Elijah, he was depressed, he wanted to die. Yet God did not rebuke Elijah. God cared for him. Second example, David, his soul was downcast. David experienced emotional darkness in his life. Job himself was wishing that he was never born. They were depressed, yet God did not call him unrighteous man. God said, this is a righteous man. So here is the important distinction. I'm going to be speaking to you as an evangelist, as a teacher, and also a therapist and a coach now. So some things I'm going to be saying, they're going to sound like what you hear from a counselor. Now, there's an important distinction. There is a difference between feeling hopeless. Anybody can feel hopeless. The difference between when you feel hopeless and when you choose hopelessness. Those are two different things. Anybody can feel hopelessness. It's a feeling that comes to you. But when you choose hopelessness, then that is where the problem is. Number two, there's a difference between experiencing sadness. I can express sadness when you lose something or when you're hurt. There's a difference between experiencing sadness and rejecting God. Depression is often a combination of 5 things. Depression is a combination of 5 things. Number 1, there can be emotional factors in depression. So it's not something that you can see easily. Like somebody said, if you go to an X-ray, and I've done X-ray before, X-ray usually of my chest and on my knees. I've done several X-ray before. There's nothing as good as when you have a problem and you go and do an X-ray, and X-ray shows you everything. But unfortunately, depression, you cannot see it. Somebody can be laughing and still be depressed. Somebody can be coming to church and be singing, even doing communion or preaching. I was preaching and I was depressed. People didn't know. Even me, I didn't even know I was depressed. I was just playing the parts. Like I said on Sunday, the difference is that some of us are better dressed when we are going through all of these things. We all go through it. There could be an emotional factor in depression. There could be a physical factor in depression. There could be a spiritual factor in depression. There could be a relational factor in depression, and there could be life circumstances. Listen, when life throws you under the bus, you will know you'll be depressed. When you are sick and doctors come to you and say, we don't know what is wrong with you, you'll be depressed. When your rent is due and you don't know how you're going to pay, you'll be depressed. When your children's school fees is due and you know they're going to resume and there's nowhere to whatever you're going to be. So it can be emotional, it can be physical, it can be spiritual, it can be relational, it can be. Think about it. Each time they announce that, oh, we're going to have what do you call it? We're going to have teens camp, and you hear 50,000 naira. Who tell me you're not depressed? And you say, and I have 3-4 children. Depression will come. You won't talk. You just be quiet. That's when you will be able to say amen. You wish why they haven't come to church today. And that's why I do not subscribe to shaming. Sometimes we think we are helping ourselves. Oh, put up your hand if you have done ABCD. Please, we should stop doing that. What we are doing, you are shaming other people. Because it's not about a saint. Don't shame people. There was a brother who didn't come to church that I know very well. It was years ago. He didn't come to church. Then when I had combined service, we used to have combined service then, and I saw him. Some of you must have heard me share about this story before. And I said, hey, bro, where have you been? I've not been seeing you in church. And the guy put his hand, he said, because of his wife. So what did your wife do? What did your wife do? He said, my wife is always saying, I'm not paying tithe. I said, hey, is that the truth? The guy said, I collected loan from workplace to pay our house rent. I collected loan to set up a business. Go to whatever there. You only and transport money. I don't have any money to even go to. But all my wife is talking about, you didn't pay your time. And I said, bro, you don't have to feel bad. I looked at me. I said, you don't have to feel bad. So will you be able to give like 1% or even like 1 naira, whatever? The guy laughed. I said, whatever you have, God knows. God knows your heart. So sometimes we shame people. We become like Pharisees. So when somebody says, for example, I feel depressed. Somebody saying it to you. I feel depressed. Our first response should never be, you need more faith, bro. Please don't say things like that. Our first response should not be, rather should be, tell me what you are carrying. I want to know. All right. Now I'm going to go a bit fast right now, and I'm going to go back to the chat box. Second question: can a Christian have suicidal thoughts? Can a Christian have suicidal thoughts? Let me go to the chats. Okay, so the very distinction, right? The first question made us to type no. Second question is yes, sure. Okay, a Christian can have suicidal thoughts. I will tell you, there was a time when we were still doing our campus conference. We are at what do you call it? Eco-Tourist Beach Resorts. Beautiful place by the Atlantic, nice hotel, every single thing. Every students came from Ghana, from Togo, from Benin Republic, from Abidjan, from Kenya. People, it was fun. 5 days, and I was called. I remember it was Dr. Toke. Dr. Toke, we brought her in as an official doctor for the. He brought her and said there was one of the participants who was depressed, and this guy was at the beach in the evening. And I went there and I sat down with him. I didn't say anything. I just sat down with the brother. After a long time, I asked him, how you doing? You know what the guy said? The guy said, wish he was dead. He said he feel like committing suicide. And I said, what's happening? He was born with a particular ailment that doesn't allow him to live life to the full. I can imagine him coming to that kind of place. People are eating, he can't eat. People are whatever, he can't do, whatever. He was like, what kind of a life is this? Sometimes people are there. So depression, a Christian can have deep depression. There is a necessary but very, very important conversation that we need to have. Even sincere believers may experience suicidal thoughts. The Bible records people, individuals, who wished to die. I will say them. Moses wished he was dead. Elijah wished he was dead. Job wished he was dead. Jeremiah wished he was dead. These are strong believers. These men are not unbelievers. They were overwhelmed. So sometimes you can have that thought. Now, what are suicidal thoughts? Suicidal thoughts often arise when you and I, a believer, a person, When a person believes four things, you can actually add more, but four things. Number one, when you believe that nothing will improve, you've given up. Say, it will never. I've tried everything. I have tried and I've tried. Nothing can work anymore. Number two is it, nobody understands me. Even when I'm sharing with them, nobody understands. Listen, my wife, we were in Loring, we led the church grew, the church did. We moved the church from one place to Kwara Hotel. We had staff, we had every single thing. Then boom, we are asked to, okay, we need to move to Lagos. Boom, we moved to Lagos. Within weeks, we need to go and plant the church. Boom, we want to go and plant the church. Under very horrible circumstance. This is a woman who just had a baby, a 4-month-old baby. She had postnatal blues. People didn't understand every single thing. Sometimes we walk ourselves to death, all in the name of ambition that we have for God, and we cannot say no. You see, this happened when you begin to say nothing will improve. How will you respond to a disciple when it comes to you and said, I'm seeing things? What will you say to that person? Or I'm hearing things. Or somebody is carrying a baby and said, I feel like I just threw the baby on the floor. Whatever. That is a sign of burnout. When you are running and running, there's no time to rest. Nobody understands you. Their burden are permanent. It can never go away. They are trapped when you feel you are trapped. Now, here are the warning signs. I'm going to give you 5 warning signs. People like that might begin to just throw away things, give away their possessions. Say, well, this world, there's nothing in this world anymore. You see them just start giving things away. There's no more attachment. They are always talking about death frequently. They have extreme withdrawal. There's this sudden hopelessness. They will have statements like, everybody will be better without me. Yes, they don't need me. If I die today, nobody, the more will move on without me. I am tired of living. When sickness hooks you, when failure hooks you, when financial burden hooks you, when marital pressure, when whatever, you might get to that level. So question is, what should you do as a Christian? Number one, and I'm going to give you more answers than the problem. Okay, I'm going to give you like 7 things that you can do. Number one, never dismiss such statements. When you hear people say that, don't say, bro, don't worry, man, let's just go and hang out. Take them seriously. Number 2, never spiritualize them away. The Lord is your strength. I can do all things. Take them seriously. Take them seriously. Number 4, listen. Listen to them. Stay present with them. Look at them when they are talking. Mirror them like we do when we're counseling. Mirror them. When they are sad, feel their sadness. Sometimes they'll be talking, they will start crying, they will start to laugh again. That is what it can do to you. Stay present. Then contact family. This is a time we need to look for, are there people that you love around? Are there family members? Even today, I got a call from somewhere. Somebody who was tired of work, tired of everything. So people I just want to run away. I felt that way too. Then seek professional help immediately. Seek professional help immediately. For our church, we can begin to respond also. The church should be a place where people can say confidently, I am struggling. Jesus Christ said, my soul is overwhelmed to the point of death. We should be able to say, bro, man, nothing, no. Bro, I never shishi, no day. I never chop. I am hungry. I've not eaten. Somebody has called me before. Say, brother, I've not eaten since yesterday. I was driving. Guess what? I pulled over immediately. Thank God I was not on the highway. I pulled over. I said, oh, yeah. Send me your account number now. How will you feel? How will you go to sleep if your sister or brother have not eaten anything? People like that, but people are just carrying on. And do it without fear. Do it without judgment. Question number 5. How do I know if I'm burnt out or I'm just tired? How do we know? How do I know if I'm just tired or just burnt out? I know what it means to be tired. And if I spread, burnout is different. In fact, I was telling my one time, I said, the more I sleep, the more I feel tired. He said, I'll tell my one time, I am tired in my tired. You know, like your tired has a tired. You know, when your boo has a boo, something like that. You know, one day I told somebody on a Monday morning, I said, this is the Mondayest Monday that ever Mondayed. You know, you wake up you're like, God. One day I told my wife, I said, I wish today was Saturday or Sunday. I didn't feel like going to church. I was so tired. Say, I wish today was Saturday. There's so much. There's activities here, activities there. Tiredness usually improves after you sleep, after you rest, or when you take a day off. Tiredness will, usually will go. But burnout persists even after you rest. It's like in your rest, you'll be resting. I mean, you'll be tired in your rest. You wake up and you feel even much more tired. I have been there. And I didn't know what I was going through until people start telling me, this is what you are going through. Burnout may include emotional exhaustion. I have nothing left to give to the world. Burnout may include you becoming cynical. I don't care anymore, Joe. Anything that happens, let me just die. Can you imagine a disciple? And people say, I was walking on the street and I felt like walking into a trailer. You told me that before. I felt like just walking through I was tired, was exhausted. So the pressures of life was too much. I know what it means for my wife to be so sick, and I lay beside her for 1 month by a corner in the room. 1 month praying and believing God that she's going to get well. When she couldn't walk, I had to carry her and put her on a trolley, wheeling her on an airport so we can catch in the next flight. When she had to learn that she can't breathe, she can't move. People can get to that level. You know, when you're exhausted, you begin to reduce effectiveness. You cannot function the way you used to. People say, but you had, because somebody had told me before, Emmanuel can baptize, whatever. And the more I heard it, believe you me, I felt more angry. And in my head, I was like, is that the only thing I'm good for? Is that the only thing I'm good for? As a workhorse? You know, so you have to take some practical burnout test. 5 questions you may have to ask yourself today. Question number 1. Do you feel constantly drained? As in constantly drained. You may be burnt out. Have you ever become emotionally numb? Nothing happening concerns you anymore. The world is falling. I told you how I slept during an earthquake. I was tired. Are you losing joy in the things that you once loved? The things that used to make you excited, all of a sudden, you can't find joy in them, and you don't know why. Are you becoming unusually irritable? Any small thing, you just snap. If anybody say hello, you are like, why you? Are you like that? Number 5, do you dread responsibilities that you once handled very easily? Say, nobody should give me anything. No. Some people say, I don't want to lead anymore. I don't want to buy this. I don't just leave me alone. When people say that, we think, bro, you are insane. They are not. They are burnt. These are people who have been doing those things for years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. The same thing, carrying the body. Some people, they've drained them financially. People collect from them, but they don't give to them. So even if several of these answers for you is a yes, then maybe burnout is developing in your life. But I'm not going to leave you without giving you some hope, because there's what I would call some prevention strategy. Schedule your rest before crisis comes. Remember that illustration I showed you guys? When we should fill up our tank is when it's at a quarter tank. So they said this is when you should rest. But when we actually fill it up is when we start showing red. Now we know now that petrol is like anything. Some of us are living just by the skin of our teeth. We are just barely surviving. Then you need to build margin. Don't block activities back to back. I've done that for many years. But have a time to say, no, I'm not going to do anything. Then, very important, learn to say no. I didn't say no. Learn it. Because I never knew I could say no. In fact, when I began to say no, people thought I was proud. Yes, they would think you are proud. Oh, you better come and do this one. I'd rather not. I really do it. But what about me? Because they've always seen you saying yes, 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 yes. The day you fall and die, the world will continue. Number 4, delegates. There's some things I don't have to do. People call me, come and do this, come and do that. Oh, bro, I know you can do this. One of our leaders called me. Oh, there's this young Christian thing that we're working. We've done program for 2 years. Oh, can I please extend it? I said, I can do it, but not now. I can do it when I have to. My life does not depend on it. But Emmanuel now, whatever. I know, but I'm juggling other things. Before, I will keep myself to do it. So let me ask you another question. If you will, I want us to think about this. When should a Christian seek professional counseling? When? When should a Christian seek professional counseling? You see, I want to think about it because the common misunderstanding that we have is that many believe that counseling is only for people in crisis. That's why people only go to hospital when there is crisis. They don't go for checkup. So when there's crisis, that's when that comes. Start coming. Well, that is not true. We visit doctors before a condition becomes fatal. That's what happens. So the same principle applies to emotional health. Don't wait until you are like me. Seek help today. If you are experiencing persistent sadness, you are always sad. Seek help to understand what you're going through. If you are experiencing anxiety, constant anxiety, seek help. If you're experiencing panic attack, seek help. If you're experiencing trauma, seek help. If you're experiencing grief that overwhelms your daily function, seek help. Even if somebody dies around you, sometimes we go for funeral, somebody dies, and we carry ourselves, we don't unbundle. If you're seeking marital difficulties, seek help. If you're facing addiction, seek help. If you're having suicidal thoughts, seek help. Especially if those symptoms persist for weeks or months. You know how they say, if condition persists after 2 days, go and see go and see your doctor. Because it's no longer ordinary. God has given us biblical principles repeatedly to help us. Seeking help is not weak. It is wisdom. I'll answer the 5th question. And the 5th question is what is the difference between faith and mental health treatments? Now, the first choice, some people would think, either faith, is that I choose faith or I choose treatment. Let me just go and pray and I'm going to be fine. The Bible teaches us to avoid extreme. Say, bless the man who avoid all extreme. Example, if your car breaks down, what are you going to do? I'm going to say, don't worry, I'll just be managing it. I'll be pushing it every morning when I'm going to work. You can't be pushing your car. If your leg breaks, you can't say, let me pray over it. No, you go to Igbobi. You seek treatment. So both are appropriate. You're going to pray, but you're also going to seek treatment. So likewise, pray, study the Bible, seek wise counsel, obtain professional support when needed. Sometimes people think, I don't want to appear weak. I don't go to the doctor until it becomes too late. See, God can heal you through many means. I agree. God can walk through prayer. God can walk through scripture. God can walk through Christian community. God can also walk through medical care. God can walk through counseling. God can walk through life changes, even just changing your lifestyle. Like exercising when you should. Like eating early, don't eat late. Like saying no. So these are not enemies. They actually work together. Now I'm going to speed up so that we can finish up the questions, because these questions are very important. Question number 6: how can wives support struggling husbands? Or vice versa. First, women, you need to understand male condition. The way men think is not the way women think. Stop trying to figure out men. Don't figure out men. Ask them. Many men today, we are taught to remember, don't cry, don't complain, solve your problem or whatever. So as a result, many men hide their struggle. It is natural for men. We naturally we just manage. But for a helpful response will be, instead of you, oh, why are you not talking now? You're not talking. You're always worried about. Why don't you try by saying, I am here whenever you are ready. I'll listen to you. Create an avenue that people want to talk. Instead of saying that, you should be strong now. You're not a man. You should be strong. Try saying, you don't have to carry this thing alone. I can help you. What can I do to help? Don't tell people what you think they need to do. Ask them what, because what is rest for you might not be rest for them. There are 5 powerful gifts that a wife can offer to the husband. Number 1, respect. Respect is healing. Men, when they feel respected, their healing will start. Number 2 is encouragement. Number 3 is listening. Number 4 is partnership. Number 5 is prayer. Now, let me ask a question now. And I want the men to answer. If you want to answer, then later, and I want the women to try to answer also. And my question is, all the men, why do you think many men today find it difficult to discuss emotional pain? And the mic is open at this time. Why do you think, men, let's hear from you. Why do you think that many men today struggle to discuss emotional pain? It could be you. It could be somebody that you know. Why? Let's have Solomon Orejobi, please. Unmute.
Okay. Good evening, Uncle Emeh. Thank you very much for the question. What I think is that one of the reasons why men fear to express their emotional pains is because of criticisms or that they might receive when they are trying to pour out their pains. They might get criticized or misunderstood or maybe stigmatized. So those are some of the reasons why men would not want to really pour out their emotions. Thank you. That's what I think.
Thank you very much. Now let them just go further. Have you ever felt any of this way before? Ever felt this way before?
Okay. Are you asking?
Have you ever felt?
Should I respond?
Yes, you.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
Yes,
okay, yes, I have.
I felt that way. I too have felt that way. Now, let me go to the chat box. Somebody said when you because of embarrassment. Yeah. Now, Boda Adefolu, you want to share? Then after Boda, then let's ask a woman. Let's see women if they also share those. Boda, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Sometimes when men don't want to share their emotional pain, it be as a result of the assumption that men don't really have to share about their pain. Men are known to be able to carry burdens and other things. And the way people will look at you, sometimes they make you feel like, are you not a man? Can't you manage? Can't you survive it? So,
yeah. Thank you. That's very thank you. In fact, people go to the point of saying
now, somebody will not even listen.
Yeah. People often go and say, why are you doing like a woman? They will attribute it to feminine thing. So men don't want people to call them women. Let us ask Mrs. Zacchaeus. Mrs. Zacchaeus, you want to answer?
Good
Thank
evening,
you.
Sir. Good evening, sir. Okay, I think more like the way our society has programmed the men. I don't know if you remember that song that they say a man's not supposed to cry.
Yes.
So yes. So the society has programmed the man that no matter what happens, no matter what you go through, you should stand strong. You should be a man. Societal expectation has shaped men that way. It's believed that, and of course, people attribute it that the woman is a weaker vessel. So it's a woman that's supposed to talk. She's the one that's supposed to cry, but a man shouldn't. A man should be strong. So I think it's the societal, the society has shaped the man, has programmed the man, and the way most of the men, most of us were brought up. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you very much. They'll say, why are you doing like a woman? Should be do like a man. It will be DK. Do like you are a man. I don't be, and when you do that, you say, nah, you be man. You see, that goes. So that means we are not supposed to talk. Many men today just keep quiet. Let me go on because of time. Let me just go on and share some of the stuff I have. So why do they feel that way? You have answered the question. So how can single men, let them talk about single men. How can single men build emotional resilience? Now, this is very important because one of our brothers were talking or whatever. The world we live right now, listen, we are in danger. I want you guys to believe right now. We're actually in danger. There is little and less and lesser interaction going on. People today, we work from home, virtual assistant, virtual secretary, virtual. Why those things might be convenient? You see, scientists have studied and said people who work together in the same workspace, there's something it does to you. Being able to see a human being just like you, even the competition that you face at work, where I look at the way that guy dressed, can we make you insecure? Those things are healthy. Right now, we are getting more secluded. Those days we used to go to cinema to go and watch. Right now, you can stay on your phone and watch our cinema. Things that we used to do together, communal things are becoming less and less. So how can single men, women, how can you build emotional resistance? The common challenge here is many single people are living in emotional isolation. Even in church, you see them in church. First time, they don't have to fellowship. We live in a world where when a man decides to talk, they say you are being a talkative, amebo, you do amebo. So men just keep quiet. So we're now living in a virtual world. What do? We just pick up phone. Even in church, we're on our phone. Even at home, we're on our phone. I'll begin to repeat it. So we don't have deep friendship anymore. Who are your best friends? Oh, I have over about 3,000 connections on LinkedIn alone. I can't remember how many I have on Facebook. But I can tell you, I don't know 99% of any of those people. I don't know them. So, and the people you are talking to, are they human beings? Now, God has blessed us with AI. Right now, people seek input from AI. They talk to AI. And sometimes AI tell them to go and do things. So when you lack deep friendships, when you lack who is holding you accountable. I mean, there's a brother called me today from another country and was sharing some life changes that they want to make, whatever they. And I told him, you have to do this, do that. And I said, bro, I'm going to hold you accountable. Who is holding you accountable? What is the support system that you have? Today, you can stay in our home and order food come to us. We don't have to go out. This week I went with my wife to my 12. It was great. I went to, what do you call it? K2 market. For the first time, the fruit market. And I felt good. We're like, wow, this is awesome. Just interaction alone. There's a biblical model. David had Jonathan. Paul had Timothy. Jesus had a circle of friends. Who are your friends? So today, we need to develop some spiritual habits, all of us. Habits of prayer, yes. Bible study, yes. Worship, yes. But also healthy friendship. You need to find trustworthy brothers. I was asked a question about 2 months ago in a place, say, who are your go-to people? Person. I said, I don't have one. And I said, when I need this is my go-to person. If it's this, so I have a lot of people and I need more. Because like you, maybe I grew up in isolation. You might not know it, but I'm heavily introverted. But God is helping me out. So the purpose is to serve one another, strengthen one another. It's good for your physical health. Exercise, sleep, nutrition, not eating, nutrition. See, what you do in the body affects the mind. So what role should our church play in men's mental health? I believe that our church shouldn't be just a place to come and worship. We love the worship and every single thing, but it's also a spiritual family. Our church should provide safe, conversation where people can talk freely. Men should be able to admit their struggles. Number 2, we should provide accountability, strong relationship. Number 3, we should provide mentorship. Older men, Bible says, should mentor younger people. Older women should mentor. We should have people mentoring, practical assistance, helping struggling families. There are people today who are struggling. Prayer support, spiritual encouragement. You see, there is a dangerous church culture that we need to look at. And that culture is that we don't discuss problem here. Oh, why? That is not good news. See, that culture, what it does that it produces hidden suffering. People begin to suffer in a corner. Healthy church creates same space for everyone. So how do we balance provision? We have to do our best. How do we balance with leadership? How do we balance with self-care? In Nigeria is a big challenge. Many men believe today that if I stop, everything stops. So I have to keep going on. That beliefs create enormous pressure. It creates enormous pressure. There's a biblical principle. Even Jesus Christ withdrew to a place to rest. When my work began to affect my mental health, when my work began to affect, when it becomes a pressure, what do? You step back. You step back. Mark chapter 6, verse 31. Come with me by yourself to a quiet place and get some rest. We need a healthy balance. We need to work diligently to provide, yes. We need to guide our family spiritually to lead, yes. We need to protect our health by resting, yes. We need to maintain relationship by connection, yes. We need to maintain being rooted in God for worship, which is very, very important. A burnt out man or woman cannot effectively lead his family. You cannot lead your family. You cannot take care of yourself. Because if you begin to think that taking care of yourself is selfish, then we have failed as a church. What would you do if somebody calls you and said, oh, I'm so tired. I've been working wherever there. And you won't see me in church today. I'm going to do Zoom. What comes to your mind first? Okay, bro, you're getting weak. Is that the first thing that comes to your mind? Some people have even told me to cancel Zoom. I said, why should I cancel Zoom? Do you know that people who are traveling, there are students who are doing NYC, there are people who are in a place where there's no church. This is their connection. Because our society, we are work-based. It's just work. Yes, still worship, yes. So what practical habits can prevent burnout? And this is where I will stop. I'm going to repeat myself again. Daily time with God. Not a duty. Can you imagine somebody? I told you, somebody said, I cannot pray until I brush my teeth. Why do you want to put that burden on yourself? Because that person grew up when they say, the parent will say, you're talking to me, go and brush your teeth. So they carry it into the church. A brother told me that as a single brother. Say, bro, you are praying, have you brushed your teeth? I said, no. Do you talk to parents without brush your teeth? I said, well, I don't know the kind of home you grew up with. You put your burden. I've been in a situation where we're praying, standing up, brothers, and I put my hand in the pocket. The brother rebuked me. What do you have in your pocket? Can you talk to your father? You have your pocket. I said, why? We begin to put all kinds of religiosity into our lives. Spirituality now becomes a duty, not nourishment. So when you sleep, you feel guilty. There was a time that a brother came to me and said, oh, I'm so sorry. The morning devo, I overslept. I said, bro, myself, I don't oversleep. In myself. So it's not about duty. You need to aim for consistent rest. You need to exercise movement, reducing stress, move around. Move a healthy relationship. Isolation increases your vulnerability. When you are alone, Satan can come after you. Then learn to create healthy boundaries. Learn to say, no, not now. Can I do it another time? You don't have to go to every party. You don't have to attend every function. You don't have to. When you know that you are burning out, then be emotionally honest. Talk before pressure becomes crisis. Be honest. Bro, I would like to do it, but I can't afford to. You are putting burden. There's a shabby here you do. They are adding you to group. 60 by day. You must call them. You are putting, and you've not paid school fees. How do you say to say, bro, hey, I love you, whatever, but I can't contribute this time? Be honest. Have purpose. Remember why you are doing what you're doing. Purpose is what sustains persistence. You know, it's already 8. I can go on and on. But I would like to stop here. Now, here's what I want to do. My prayer is that this class will trigger something new in our church. In family groups, men, let's get together. Women, let's get together. Let us, but just today, we're just going to share our body. I would say, cast your burden upon me because I care for you. Let just burden. Nobody should rebuke anybody. Nobody should advise. No, it's not a time for advice. Nobody should rebuke. Just listen. When you pray and see what's going to happen. You know, for the men, I would like to advocate that we begin to form a band of brothers. Well, coming, even if it's once in a month, to offload, to share, to talk about. There's something that it does to all of us. I'm going to stop here because we're out of time. But I'm going to ask if there is any question that you feel that is bugging you right now. Again, I apologize for those who want to join. We are over 100. I mean, we can only take 100. Are there questions? If there is no question, I'm going to add you. I'm going to ask you to join. I'm looking at Mr. Adesoya. Mr. Adesoya is also pressurized. He can't wait to stop working. Ask him, he will tell you. He can't wait. Can't wait. You were like, if I have his job, I'll go to heaven. It's not easy. And when he shares it, I'll just laugh. Say he can't wait to just retire. There's so much that has to be done. If there are no questions, I'm going to stop at this time, and I'm going to refer us back to our duty continuity announcer, whoever that is that Mr. Adesoya? And you're going to tell us what we're going to do. But this is to trigger conversations afterwards.
Okay, is it Mike? Thank you very much, Emmanuel. It's 8 o'clock already. And well, would have loved for one or two persons to ask question so that it won't be as if we didn't take any. Do we still have any hand up?
No, we do not. I can't see any.
No. Okay, so there's none. All right, thank you for that. And I'm sure this is a continuous conversation. It's something that I know that no matter how long we spend on it, we can never exhaust it. But once again, thank you. We'll get better as men, be more vulnerable, be more outspoken.